So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for coming to what I think may be the 9th River Beats concert that we've done. And Will Healy is here. Yay, Will. And all of our musicians who have traveled from various places, you'll meet them today as well. So thank you all for coming. So for those of you who are not familiar with the program, I just want to mention that I work as the Director of Education and Environmental Monitoring for the Coastal Rivers Conservation Trust. Still hard for me to say that because we just changed our name and I'm getting used to it. But I want to welcome you all. This is one session out of many that we do with Camp Mummichog. And Camp Mummichog runs all summer long as a nature day camp, and we integrate lots of arts with those activities that we do. But this program has a very specific focus, which is the composition of music. So Will's going to tell you about how the program actually works and how he works his magic. Thanks.
Thanks, Sarah. So I just wanted to tell you guys about how this program works. What you guys are about to hear are 10 world premieres, 11 world premieres, all pieces that were written in the last 2 weeks. Every note of these pieces was thought up by the kids in the program. It's a very special program. There's only about 40 places in the world that do exactly this kind of teaching. And it was begun in New York by a guy named John Deek, who works with the New York Philharmonic, and I'm a teaching artist in New York there, and I come up here every summer for the last 5 summers to do a program here. So the way it works is at the Coastal Rivers Conservation Trust. The kids choose an animal or a topic or a story, and then they use it to inspire their music. This year, I allowed the students to not only write for string quartet, but if they wanted to incorporate piano, or if they'd done this program a few times and they wanted to make it a violin duet or a cello and piano duet, they could do something like that. So each of the kids came up with a piece inspired by something related to nature, and we're actually going to begin with a piece that is related to sort of an extension of nature. A kid with a big imagination, Nathan Percival, is going to come up here and tell us about the piece.
My piece is called Attack of the Rat Creatures. I wrote this piece inspiring by the comic Bone. It has a bunch of characters from the comic in it. The rat creatures attack the DRA, and the heroes attack them back. The dragon comes and wipes out the rest. The end. There are about 6 parts. Listen for the piano.
So each of the students in the program had a different way of describing their music to me and helping me write it down. Some of them actually wrote it down using pencil and paper. Others were humming and singing their ideas. And the next composer, Noel, was very insistent that he had never had music instruction or music lessons, and he said, at the beginning, he was like, I don't know if I can do this. I just want to let you know. I assured him that he could, and as you'll hear, he certainly did through humming and tapping melodies, and he's going to come up and tell you about his piece, Life of a Bug.
Hello, my name is Noel, and the name of my piece is Life of a Bug. It is divided into 5 main parts. First, the birth of a mosquito. The second part is where the bug looks around and takes its first steps. In the third one, the mosquito goes up and starts flying. The fourth section is about the bug getting into a storm. The fifth one is the death of the bug. This is my first melody ever composed, so I hope you like it.
So as you can hear, Noel was very excited about using some of the different effects that we learned about over the last 2 weeks. He used some snap pizzicato, where the instruments made the slapping sound for hitting the bug. He used some tremolo in the violins to show the bug flying around. Our next composer, Thomas Connolly, his piece is about, well, I'll let him tell you what it's about, but one thing I want you to listen for is how he used a different theme for each of the animals.
My name is Darrows Barn, and my song is called The Deep. My song was inspired by the sea and the animals in it. The sea is full of fascinating animals, each one more exciting than the next. Each part of the piece is inspired by something in the ocean, mostly animals, though. Try to picture what I'm presenting.
So there are a few of the kids in the program who I've had more than once, and it's always fun to hear them grow and change over the years. Some of them come back with new ideas and new styles. Tyler, our next composer, is certainly one of those people. One thing that always inspires Tyler is the eel that he caught at the formerly known as the DRA last year, which is now at the Coastal Rivers Conservation Trust. Tyler was inspired by that last year, and he continues to be inspired. He was able to work it into his piece this year.
Hello, my name is Tyler, and my piece is the title of the title is The Chaos. It is about the adventure of an American eel that meets a crab, a striped bass, and many other underwater beasts. There are 5 main sections to my piece. Hope you enjoy.
Our next composer is someone who's returned to the program. He was here 2 previous years, and because he had done this a couple of times and he had written for string quartet a few times, I allowed Elliot to branch out, try different instrumentations. So for this piece, he wrote a piece for cello and piano, and I think it inspired him to have some new sounds. One interesting fact about this piece is that he originally wanted it to be called Fat Chicken Nugget. Well, originally Fat Chicken Nugget, he changed it to Obese Chicken Nugget, but then he panicked when he saw that I was going to put that on the concert program, and he changed it to Life of Visitation.
Hello, my name is Elliot, and my piece is called Life of Visitation. It's about whales. Listen for any melodies and parts you like. Please enjoy my piece, and I hope you learn something.
So while some of our composers were humming their melodies, others were writing them down, our next composer did them all entirely played on the keyboard. So each one of these parts we would start with the first violin, she'd play me the first violin part, then we'd do the second, and then the viola, and then the cello, and that's how this piece came together. So now I'm going to invite up Jocelyn Gladu.
Hi, my name is Mossy. My piece is called The Beauty of Nature. It is about how storms can be peaceful and beautiful.
I wish that you guys could see the scores, because there are a lot of great instructions and explanations that the kids have left in the music to help us understand what's going on. So one of the sections of that piece was a storm, And Jocelyn insisted that this was a nice storm because she likes storms. So, there it is. Our next composer, Arabella, one of the things that's very exciting about this program, very fun about this program, is that we have a few siblings, and it's been fun to see them work together and how their musical styles have some similarities. And she has a whole story, and she used many different melodies in the piece to tell you the story, which is about a bobcat. She's going to come and tell you about it.
Hello, my name is Arabella Chapman, and today I will be playing a piece about a bobcat. I hope you like my piece and have a good rest of the day. My title will be called The Exceptional Ending of a Bobcat.
So each of the years that I've been up here, I've had Kendra Gladue in the group, and it's been very exciting to see her grow and change over the years musically. And one thing that is consistent, though, from the very first year that I was here, she's always written her music by hand. She writes all the instruments, and she does it beginning to end, and she's always very prolific. So the one thing that I insisted on this year was that she bring in her flute and she write one part on her flute. So she did. So she wrote most of the piece that you hear here, on paper, but then at the very end, she used the flute to come up with the final melody.
Hi, my name is Kendra, and this is my 6th year doing this program. This year I wanted to write about something other than just a singular thing, so I chose the ecosystems. This world has so many unique life forms, thriving in some very different environments. But over time, species have gone extinct and then rebounded even more evolved than before. In my piece, Evolution of Ecosystems, notice the repetitive melodies representing life forms. Thank you.
This piece has many pages. Give me a second. So I don't know if you guys heard the effect that she used in the cello, where he wasn't just playing wrong. He was using an effect called scratch tone over pressure, and Kendra wanted to depict the extinction of the dinosaurs, so she was using the cello to show that effect. You may have already known that. Another composer who's been in this program before is Devlin Ruth. One thing that was really exciting about working with Devlin this year is that he's been composing all year since last program. And he came in and he had about 10 pieces written during this past year that he showed me during the week. So what we're actually going to do today is we're going to perform the piece that he wrote over the past 2 weeks, which is a violin duet. And we're also then going to perform a violin solo that he wrote earlier in the year. So Devlin's going to come up and he's going to say a little bit about both of those pieces.
My name is Devlin Ruth, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about a piece I wrote at camp called The Glorious Ending. This piece is about a deer who fights another deer and loses. When it dies, there is a glorious sunrise as dew covers the body. Listen for the fight between the two deer. Also listen for the glorious sunrise. I also wrote a second piece outside of camp during the year called Ignis. This means fire in Latin. Listen for the parts that remind you of fire.
So one of the things that's both fun and very difficult in my job is the dictation process, trying to get these pieces actually into a form where musicians can play them, because sometimes the kids will sing them to me and it'll be hard to make out exactly what they mean. So our next composer, Sophia Kiel, gave me quite a challenge with some of these rhythms, because she has an incredible imagination for rhythm, which has really developed over the past year, because I've had her now 2 years. I hope you guys enjoy and listen for all the complex rhythms in this piece. And Sophia is going to come up and tell you a little bit about her piece. Here she comes now.
Hi, my name is Sophia Kiel, and today I'll be happy to present my piece on Honor in Her Day. Be sure to look out from the baby otters are playing ball, which is in the middle. Hope you enjoy my piece. Its name is Wilderness in the Ocean.
Can we give a round of applause to all the composers? Come on, stand up, composers. Take one more bow. I would also like to get a round of applause for these fantastic musicians. We got Steve, Misha, and Isabel. I also really want to thank, especially Sarah Gladue, for the work that she does. For keeping this program going for all these years. It's a really unique and special program. And for all of you, for believing that kids can write music, because as you can tell, they really can. So there's really no difference between kids with doing visual art and writing music. The only difference is having someone help them write it down. So I hope that you guys continue to support this kind of work and think outside the box with musical things and kids. I also want to thank Ben and Griffin. Griffin was my intern this year. It's fantastic. And Ben was a nature counselor this year. And feel free to meet us all in the back and talk about it.